We are the nerds of the nation, and you must love the nerds of the nation. One Piece, Chapter 229, Luffy's two favorite words, let's eat. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the adventure-seeking, the awe-inspiring tale of One Piece. Of course, our last chapter, which actually I recorded a few days ago because of the holidays and Christmas and everything, so I do hope that everybody who celebrates it had a nice time with friends and family, maybe got some good food, maybe some gifts that they desired, and I know that I'm just absolutely dead tired, but certainly getting back to it over here because I am going through One Piece withdrawals. So, the last chapter, of course, saw us with really just Shoujou, Masira, and Mont Blanc Cricket, kind of all becoming acclimated and friends with the Straw Hats, and really the chapter just sort of ending up with him talking something about this knock-up stream. So that's where things left off. That's where things pick up over here, and Cricket winds up offering up. He says, "Listen, I'll tell you everything I know about Skypiea, about the Sky Island, how to get there, and everything else. But mind you, it's all hearsay." So he goes, "Whether you choose to believe it or not is entirely up to you." So Luffy goes, "Okay, I believe it." Like, idiot, he hasn't even talked yet. So of course Zoro takes a nap, and he winds up explaining that there is this about the darkness that appears in the middle of the day, and he says that it's this cloud, this Imperio-cumulonimbus, the Emperor Cloud is actually what it's called. And Nami's like, there's no way that can't happen, there's no cloud that's like that, that just brings darkness. And Luffy's like, yeah, it's called dark, not complete blackness, or it's called cloudy, not complete dark, So he's like, listen, just shut up and listen to me. So the whole idea is that they think that this Emperor Cloud has remained up there for thousands of years, and that's why the whole legend and the whole thought is that the Skypiea is up there, in this cloud. So the way that they chart it and everything else, Masira goes in and reports, and when he sees this and that, he knows about where these things are going to come. He winds up explaining that basically about 4 or 5 times a month, one of these knock-up streams appear. And the knock-up stream, pretty much, you can equate it to like a geyser, where the pressure builds up underneath and then goes in and fires a plume of water up into the air, and that's how we can assume that some of these ships have gotten screwed up and everything else. Now, mind you, everything that he tells them, he says, is hearsay. Nobody's been foolish enough to actually try to research this whole thing about this knock-up stream and everything else, but the whole theory is that there's a giant cavity underground in the sea somewhere, that as the cool seawater rushes into the warm air and steam from underneath, from the earth, obviously from down in the well, you know what I mean, down in the ground, obviously the closer you get to the core, the warmer it is, that creates this steam, and this, for like a whole minute, this plume of water shoots straight up into the air, So they wind up talking, he winds up talking and explaining about this and about how and of course Usopp the whole time is just scared shitless, But basically the point to it is that they've kind of got it down to generally where this thing appears. Five different places that it can appear in, and but the thing he says, he goes, you'd have to be extremely, extremely lucky, because here's the thing, like, if you wind up shooting up in this thing, and first of all, you have to guess right and make sure that Skypiea is actually above you, that this Emperor Cloud is above you, so you can actually get up there, right? So that's the first part of the battle. If it's not up there, you're going to wind up coming crashing down anyway into the ocean or the sea and die. And the same thing if you wind up choosing the wrong one, right? So it's all just based on complete luck, And Usopp's like, oh no, we can't do this, we can't do this, we can't do this, we're unlucky. And then Luffy goes, we'll be fine, don't worry about it, And it's funny because a couple of times during the course of this story and what he's explaining, Luffy's just like, oh yeah, we got to go up there, we got to go, Zoro, get up, we're leaving. And they still don't know how to get to the Sky Island at this point yet. So anyway, he winds up explaining to them as well. Cricket explains to him that their ship, the Going Merry, will get torn apart. There's no way I can make it up there, and but that Masira and Shoujou can they can help reinforce it and what have you, And then so then Nami goes and she says, well, look, we got to get something going in the next day because we've only got 1 day left until the log pose resets. Remember 4 days on Jaya, and then it'll reset and lock onto the next island. And she says, so, and then Usopp, of course, trying to be the pessimist, and he's like, oh, okay, so what are the couple weeks, couple months, when will this thing come? And he's like, tomorrow at noon. And Usopp's like, damn it. So everything will work out fine as far as timing and fall into place real well, And as I said, with just the pictures and the descriptions and everything like that, it's really kind of just this cool, fun sense of wonderment and adventure, to think about how this thing can actually, how the ship can get up there, and once they do get up there, how they would actually land on this thing, and I don't know if they'll use the log pose, to hopefully before they fire up in this plume of water. He says it's all based on timing, so otherwise you'll just be torn apart from this knock-up stream. So again, just a very cool sense of wonderment and adventure that I certainly enjoy. So anyway, Usopp goes and he's just like, you must be lying. He gets to this point towards the end of the conversation, and he accuses him of lying. He's like, you're a descendant of Nolan the Liar, and this is all just so convenient. Oh, there's only one time we can go, and it's tomorrow at noon, and you just happen to help us out. You just happen to be here, and you're willing to help us reinforce our ship and everything else. He's like, this is bullshit. I smell something fishy, right? And Nolan's like, whatever, let's go eat. And he says something, comrades, and Luffy's all excited and this and that. So then Usopp's talking to Nami, stays behind, and Sanji had went in and he cooked some food for him or whatever, And it's funny because the two monkey men are like, oh my god, this guy's a great cook. And Sanji's like, yeah, I told you I'm a world-class chef, Somebody says, Chopper, go get Robin from the ship. We're going to eat. And Usopp and Nami are left behind. And Usopp's like, am I just am I just basically, am I just a chicken and a this and a that and everything like that? And Nami goes, yeah, and you're an idiot too, but the bottom line is this is what we're going to go do. And it's okay, So she's kind of like reassuring him that, yes, you are a moron, but, really attacking this guy who's trying to help us wasn't the right thing to do, just go apologize. So the next thing Usopp goes, and these are little things that I find funny. It was only one little panel thing. Usopp's like, I'm sorry, mister, I'm sorry. And he's like, stop it, you're getting snot on me. So Usopp obviously went over and started crying for forgiveness, So then they go and they show them later on, and they're eating and all having a good time inside of Cricket's little hut area there, his little ruse, that little little half hut that's behind the giant looking plywood castle that he's got. And they're in there, and Robin is sitting off in the corner, and she's reading Nolan's diary, and she says something about the gold in the right eye of the skull, or the skull with the right eye of gold is skull, or the skull's right eye is gold, something along those lines. And then Cricket winds up saying, he says, yeah, those are the last words that Nolan wrote before he was executed. We don't know what it means. We don't know if it's a reference to a location, or if it's, Personally, I think it's some kind of reference to maybe he did make it up to Skypiea, and maybe he was able to see something from up there down on the island. Maybe the island looked like like a skull, or it looked like a portion of the island looked like there was gold, and that's where this treasure was. I don't know though, but I again could be wrong. Just hypothesizing here. So. But we wind up getting, so then, of course, they don't really know exactly what's going on with it and what's going to happen. They're just all having a good time and a nice feast before the Straw Hats presumably go to their death the next day. So Cricket and Masira, they're trying to make them comfortable and make them feel at home. So then we go and we see, and the chapter ends up with, because if you remember, Bellamy and his crew of bitch-ass pirates, have decided that they're going to come and of course attack Luffy and come after them because they heard this story about gold bullion. From the reference that obviously when Robin was asking around and everything, so they decided they're going to come there. Or maybe they don't even know that Luffy and company are there at the time. I just know at this point, but I just know that the chapter ends with them on their way there, and one of Bellamy's crew members going saying, "I see it, it's in sight," and this and that, and then Bellamy says something about actually I'm sure he does know the Straw Hats are there because he says something about those dreaming fools. And remember, his big thing is like, don't have dreams, just be grounded in reality and take what's theirs and what's yours for the taking, as opposed to actually dreaming and going for things that are just out of your grasp or that maybe you can't see but you've heard about, and basically just be a realist about things. Don't actually have any dreams, or hopes or anything like that. So take what's yours, and his whole nonsense. But anyway, he winds up saying, those dreamers and this and that don't deserve gold bullion, and that's how the chapter ends. So that's where we're left hanging. And actually, my chapter question over here is it's going to be something that's a little bit off the beaten path. We just had obviously the holidays pass and everything else, and again, I hope everybody had a nice time with their family and friends. But what I would like to know, and if you could put in the comments section, is what your age is, if you're willing to share that with. So we've asked some different things about male or female, where you're from, how the weather is out by, all those different things. But I kind of like to interact and get to know a little bit more about you, brothers and sisters. So if you could leave that in the comments down below, feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, nation.
Remember to subscribe so you could see more beautiful lady with cowboy hat like this one.